Acted.
Thank you, Prabhu. We'll start in just half a minute.
Yeah.
Waiting my Mridanga player to join me.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Welcome all of you to the Friday evening session at the ISKCON Manchester. This is the month of Kartik. We are continuing with discussing the verses from the beautiful prayer known as Damodar Ashtakam. So we'll get into the customary bhajan, Jai Radha Madhava, to begin with, and allow a few more devotees to join in. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Jai Radha Damodar Radha Radha Jai Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Jai Jai Prabhupada 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 Jai Jai Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Nitai Gaur Hari Bo Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Radha Damodar ki jai. Nittaya Gaura Premanande. Hari 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 Hari. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you for dialing in on this beginning to be a little bit cold evening. So we are still in the month of Kartik, and it's understood that in the month of Kartik, there is special mercy available of the Lord. It's like the sale season where if you do a little bit of endeavor, then the Lord is willing to give more than normal spiritual benefits. So it's that special time of the year still. And don't worry if you have not been able to do a whole lot. There is still some time left. In fact, Monday onwards, there is a doubly special time about to begin. From Monday next week till Friday is the 5 days, which is marking the closure of this Kartik month. And these 5 days are observed as the Bhishma Panchak. So if you've not been able to do a whole lot and you struggle a little bit for whatever reason, take opportunity to do some special endeavor in trying to serve Krishna and his devotees in these last 5 days, beginning Monday to next Friday. And that's a double special time. So we are still in the month of Kartik. Please, we urge you to take advantage and continue to connect with your local temples, ask about opportunities to engage in service and carry out the Lord's mission and work along with his devotees. So the objective of all this devotional service, coming together and working in cooperation with each other, is not really to become mentally peaceful. These are all byproducts, or to achieve a better state of mind or be successful in your material endeavors. These may or may not be byproducts of you performing these devotional activities, but the end objective or the goal of conducting devotional activities is to develop bhakti, or that loving affection to Lord we know as Krishna. And Acharyas tell us that the purpose of this life is essentially to somehow revive our forgotten connection and attain Krishna. And how do you do that? None other than Krishna to tell you how to do that. There are several instructions spread across the scriptures, and one reference I'd like to make is from Uddhava Gita. Uddhava is a very, very dear devotee of the Lord, Lord Krishna's associate. And just towards the end, when Lord Krishna was about to finish his earthly pastimes, he had this conversation with Uddhava. And Krishna himself says, Na sadhyati mam yogo, na sankyam na tapasya, yata bhaktir mamorjata. Krishna is saying, it is not by material endeavors, yogic austerities, or by accumulation of a lot of knowledge, or by austerities and sacrifice that I am attained. I am attained purely by loving devotional service to me. Yatha bhaktir mamorjita. So this is Krishna's direct instruction that if we engage in loving devotional service, he will become easily attainable. And when we come together during such times or any time with devotees and we listen to Krishna's pastimes, we chant his holy names, and we come together in service. The end goal or the objective is to develop this bhakti or loving devotion towards Krishna. And that helps us attain him. So today, the plan is to focus on the last two verses of this beautiful prayer known as Sri Damodar Ashtakam, but we will still take some few messages from the entire prayer. So we'll start from the first verse. It's been said a number of times in the previous session, these prayers were composed by Satyavrat Muni. And there are several references. It is found in Padma Purana, and there is also reference to the benefits of singing Damodar Ashtakam in Hari Bhakti Vilas. Hari Bhakti Vilas is your manual for conducting nice devotional service and deity worship. It's a guidebook on that. So it's mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilas that if in the month of Kartik, you offer special prayers, then the benefits are manifold, and Krishna is more keen to grant you devotion or bhakti. So Satyavrat Muni is in conversation with Narad Muni, Shaunaka Rishi, and he's writing these prayers in glorification of Lord Krishna, who's conducting his pastimes in this baby form. So, Gauranga Prabhu, if I could just request for the verses to come up, and then we can just go through each of the verse one by one and have some takeaways from each of the verse as we progress. So there is one question sometimes put up as to why does the Lord appear in such sweet little form, even as a deity, even in the temples, he's being projected in a very sweet, loving mood, which is totally harmless. You know, if you look at Krishna's form, it is nothing to be scared of. In fact, once upon a time, one person, he approached Prabhupada and he said to Prabhupada, what is the use of having Krishna in such a sweet form? And he's just looking so innocent, and he's not going to scare anyone like this. Nobody's going to surrender, and nobody's going to submit to the Lord, you know, if we present the Lord in such a sweet, pleasant form. So Prabhupada said, okay, so should we install the Virata Rupa to scare people? And then the next question was, if we do, what are you going to feed the Virata Rupa? How are you going to dress him? So that becomes a challenge, because what does a Virata Rupa take as prasadam? Everything. So Krishna comes not to scare us as living beings. He comes for various purposes. We know the instruction is available in so many places. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkitam dharma sansthapanakaya sambhavami yuge. So he's coming to protect the saintly people. Saintly people includes all the devotees. So when he comes to have these loving exchanges, he's not coming to scare the devotees. He's coming to experience this love and affection, which we have in our own relationship. So he wants to experience that with us. Acharyas tell us that Krishna is non-existent without his devotees. And he generally arranges his pastimes in a way that all his dear devotees are always around him, and he can constantly have these exchanges with his devotees. So this Damodar pastime is the best example of love and exchange in Vatsalya Ras. We know that there are 5 emotions in which we can connect with Krishna. There is Shantaras, there is Sakyaras, there is Dasya, and then there is Vatsalya. So Damodar pastime is the perfection of this Vatsalya Ras, or loving exchange with Krishna in the mode of a parent. So if you look at the first verse then, when it comes up on the screen, Namam Ishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. So Satyavrat Muni is offering these prayers, and he's suggesting that don't be fooled. You might see that this personality is like a little baby, and he's running around being chased by his mother, but he is Ishvara. Ishvara Sachidananda Rupam. He's the supreme personality of Godhead, full of eternity, bliss, and happiness, and truth. And to that Supreme Lord, I am offering my obeisances. So please be conscious and aware that he is that Supreme Lord. The Acharyas also tell us that this Damodar pastime was conducted for a number of reasons, and the first main reason was to glorify his devotees, such as Yashodama. So Yashodama's position, or Mother Yashoda's position, is compared to not even very, very exalted devotees like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva or even Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is in constant association with the Lord. She's close to the Lord's chest. She's massaging the Lord's feet. So she's in constant physical association with the Lord. But the position that Mother Yashoda has been given is even greater than that. Think of accomplished individuals, whoever they may be, the Ambanis or the Bill Gates of the world, or the Tatas, or whatever name comes to your mind. No matter how accomplished they may be in their lives, but in front of their parents, they will still be little kids. For those who are parents, you'd agree with me on that. And to my mind comes a narration of this very famous Indian accomplished lady called Indra Nooyi. Indra Nooyi is a lady of Indian origin, and she lived in America I think she is still living in America, and she served as the CEO of PepsiCo. So PepsiCo is a food and beverage company, and she served as a top boss of PepsiCo for a very long time. And in one of her interviews, she shares that she would have a full day at work, being the boss of one of the biggest companies in the world. And then she would come home, and the first thing her mom will tell her is, Indra, throw your CEO hat out at the door and go get some milk and bread. We have none in the house. So that's the treatment that she used to get when she went to the house in front of the parents. So the point we're making is, no matter how accomplished the individuals would be, for parents, they are still those little individuals, because the parents spend that journey or share that journey with the child growing up. So this special position that Yashodama has been given is awarded to not even great devotees. But Satyavrat Muni is saying that please don't be fooled. He is still the supreme personality of Godhead. And Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. So this pastime, Krishna's got Shakship earrings, and this pastime is conducted in Gokul, which is in Brajabhumi. And of course, Yashoda Biyolu Kaladhavamanam, mother is running behind Krishna, and he's being chased for the naughtiness that he's engaged in. So that's the first verse. The message takeaway, key takeaway from the first verse is number one, Yashodama is a very, very exalted devotee, and the position that Yashodama has been given is awarded to none other, not even great devotees like Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. And we know what is the sweetness of this Vatsalya Ras that some of us have had the good fortune to experience. So, and that is the experience that the Lord wants to have. So he comes as a little baby and does all this mischief. The second verse, if we can bring that up on the screen. We just scroll up a little bit. Don't know if I can do that. Bharata, are you still there? I'm not sure if I've got the control to scroll it up. Rudantam muhurnetram yugmam rijantam karam bhuja yugmena shatanka netram mushvashakam patri reka kakanta stitagrivam damodaram bhakti baddham. So this second verse, obviously Krishna is crying, and his eyes are filled with tears because he's afraid of his mother's scolding and reprimanding. Karam bhoja yugmena sha atanka netram. Can you imagine? Sha atanka, Acharya has explained, atanka means terror in Hindi. So Krishna is so fearful that his eyes are filled with tears, and the tears are so much that they are causing a flood situation, and he's so fearful of his mother. Imagine Krishna is the same as Varaha Avatar, and if you read the description in scriptures, the size of Varaha Avatar was so huge that even one hair pore of his body was enough to absorb the entire water in all the three worlds, and it would still not be full. Such is the size of Varahadev. One hair pore of his body is sufficient to absorb all the waters in the material world. And that Varahadev is Krishna, and his mother can give him a bath in one bucket full of water. Imagine the privilege that Krishna gives to his special devotees. And the fourth line is Mushvasha Kampatri Rekha Kakanta Stita Grevam Damodaram Bhakti Baddham. Krishna is saying, or Satyavat Muni is saying that such Supreme Lord who comes in Varahadev's form, who comes in Narshingadev's form, and displays unlimited power, still gets chosen to be bound by devotees who are offering pure love and affection. Damodaram Bhakti Baddham. That's the takeaway. And there are several examples. He surrenders and he submits and he supports his devotees, like Arjuna, for example. We all know Krishna agreed out of love and affection for Arjuna to be his charioteer. And it's been shared a number of times that while on the battlefield, to communicate with the charioteer, the chariot rider, Arjuna, had to kick Krishna's sides. So left side kick to tell him to go left, and right side kick tell him to go right. Such is a position that the Lord is willing to take just for the pleasure of his devotee, only if we approach him with love and affection. Damodaram Bhakti Baddham. That's the takeaway from this second verse. So, his tendency, Krishna's tendency to give credit to others, glorify his devotees. We will discuss in the 7th and the 8th verse again that one of Krishna's attitude is to glorify his devotee and uphold his devotees' words. That's what he does. This is an amazing quality. If we can imbibe that in us, as opposed to trying to take the credit for what we do ourselves, if we take away this quality from how Krishna is displaying, glorifying his devotees, then that'll take us a long way in developing ourselves on the path of bhakti. So the third verse, Iti driksvalila bhirananda kunde swagosham nimajantam akhyapayantam tadiyeshitaneshu bhakterjitatvam puna prematastam sattavriti vande. So the one key word that I've taken away from this third word is tadiyeshitaneshu bhakterjitatvam. He gets won over by his devotees. Those who are approaching him with love and affection. And it is said that this Damodar Ashtakam pastime is devoid of Aishwarya Bhav. It's Aishwarya Heen and Madhurya Yukta. So there is no conception of awe and reverence in this pastime. This is fully packed with just pure love and affection between the Lord and his devotees. So Bhaktar Jitatvam, he gets won over by his own devotees. I was recently listening to Krishna's pastimes in Mathura when he goes on Kamsa's invite and kills Kamsa. Just after he does that, in the arena, in the viewing area, his friend Sridham was also present. And Sridham is also understood as Radharani's brother, so he's very special like that. Challenges Krishna and he says, hey, how do you claim you're Krishna? I don't believe you're Krishna. Sridham challenges Krishna like that. And Krishna says, no, I am Supreme Personality of Godhead and I'm this and that. And Sridham says, no, I don't believe. I will only, and Sridham challenges Krishna and says, I will only believe you're Krishna if you and I have a fight and I will defeat you. Then it will be proven. So right after Krishna kills Kamsa, Sridham and Krishna have a fight in the same arena. They have a wrestling match. And what is the outcome? Krishna loses and Sridham wins. And then Sridham certifies, yes, I certify that this guy is Krishna. Indeed, I have known him for all my life. And yes, he is Krishna. So such is the nature of Krishna's loving exchange with his devotees, that he is willing to get won over by his devotee and submits and surrenders to the pure love and affection that we are willing to offer him. It's understood he's Bhavagrahi, Janardana. What is it that we can give to someone who is a source of everything? Only our love and affection. And imagine the feeling you get as a parent when your child is wanting to share something that you have provided in the first place. It's the exact same scenario. So when the provider of it all sees that willingness that we have to share with love and affection, then there is an exchange and we develop bhakti. So the fourth verse then, Varam deva moksham na moksham vadim va nachanyam raneham vare sadapiha idam deva purnatha gopala balam Sada me manasya virashtam kimanye. So, Varam Deva Moksham na Moksham Vadimat. Satyavat Muni is saying, you are capable of giving so many boons, but what do I want? Sada me manasya virashtam. That's my takeaway from this fourth verse. Pure devotees of the Lord simply want to stay in constant remembrance of the Lord. One great example of this in practice is Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time was a very, very celebrated devotee. He was, in fact, considered the Namacharya. And we all know, we've discussed Chaitanya Charitamrita in the last few months. He was put through so many hardships, so many external bodily torture and suffering, but simply because of the power of constant remembrance of the Lord, he stayed unaffected. Never ever the external tortures ever managed to affect Srila Haridas Thakur person. And it was purely on the strength of his ability to constantly remember Krishna. And if we constantly remember Krishna, then hopefully when it's time for us to leave the body and move on, we will still be able to remember Krishna and go back to be with him, or be wherever we are in service to him. So that's the takeaway from the fourth verse. Sada me manasya virashtam kimanye. What do I need? What is the need for me for any other boon if I can constantly remember you? And that's all a pure devotee ever wants. Because if we desire for material opulences or any kind of skill or ability or wealth or prosperity, there is every chance that all those things take us away from being in constant remembrance of the Lord. And don't worry if we are not able to get to that stage. Let's start practicing to be in that state. And that is easily done by picking up or becoming committed to a particular service. So wherever you are, stay in touch with your local temple and get signed on to one service that you can continuously render, constantly deliver upon. And that discharge of physical service will allow you somehow or the other to remain in constant remembrance of the Lord, because you're engaged in serving his devotees. So that's a practical way of doing it. Sada me manasya virashtam kimanye. Right, so we get into the fifth verse. Idam te mukham bojam atyanta nile mritam kuntalai snigdha raktaisha gopya moshumbitam bimba raktadharam me manasya virashtam malam lakshalabhay. So Satyavat Muni is saying that he's describing the Lord's feature, and then he's saying, what is the use of all the opulences? All I want is for me to be able to have your vision always. We remember the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj here, where Dhruva Maharaj, we all know, was insulted by his stepmother, and then he resolved to have a kingdom even bigger than his father, King Uttanapad. And under the instructions of Narad Muni, he chanted Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and pleased the Lord with the austerities to give darshan. And when the Lord appeared, what did Dhruva Maharaj had to say? his realization. As soon as he came in contact with the form of the Lord, all his illusion, all his material desires disappeared. And all he wanted was to just be able to constantly have the vision of the Lord. And he even commented that he was actually aspiring for broken pieces of glass, having seen the Lord. So such is the mood of a devotee. All they want is to remain in service and thereby be able to constantly meditate upon the Lord and his form. It is understood that life is a preparation and death is an examination. And we don't know when the exam is going to happen. There is no fixed preparation time, which means we have to constantly be in practice. We have to constantly be working on being able to remember the Lord, not just at the time of death, but always. So that's the takeaway from this fifth verse, Mana Shavirashtam, remembrance of the Lord always. Then the sixth one, Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabho Dukha Jalabdi Magnam Kripadashti Vrishtyati Dinam Batanu Grihani Shamama Jnamedhyakshi Drishyai. So my takeaway from this one verse is Prasiddha Prabho Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam, is requesting the Lord, oh Krishna, please be pleased upon me. Prasiddha Prabho, oh Krishna, please be pleased upon me. I am Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam. I am immersed in an ocean of sorrow, and I'm almost like a dead man. We need to recognize the fact that it is not a great circumstance or a situation we're in. We may be materially comfortable. We may have some opulences and we may have some luxury, but when, at what moment does this get taken away from us? No one knows. So we do not need to be comfortable in our material situation and be always working on being able to maintain the remembrance of the Lord. There is a reference from the scriptures of a character called Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra, we all know, was the Kuru king, and his younger brother Pandu was no more. He died early. So Dhritarashtra was in charge, and he had sanctioned the battle of Kurukshetra to happen. And we know the Battle of Kurukshetra was amongst the deadliest battle where millions and millions of people lost their lives. In fact, it is understood that the land, even to this date, 5,000 years later, is still red with the amount of bloodshed that happened. So Dhritarashtra, being impaired vision, was sitting in his room, and he's being supported with his minister Sanjay, and Sanjay is narrating, and Sanjay is telling him, Dhritarashtra, Maharaj, you've lost one son, 99 are left. And Dhritarashtra is saying, go on, tell me what happens next. Then Sanjay is telling him after another few days, Dhritarashtra Maharaj, another 5 of your sons have gone. Now 6 are dead, 94 are left. Please save the rest. And Dhritarashtra is still attached to the fact that maybe one of my sons will defeat the Pandavas. Maybe I will still be able to hold on to my position. Maybe I will continue to be the king of the world. He is continuing to be attached and not recognizing the fact that death is inching closer and closer and closer. And then he's told, Dhritarashtra Maharaj, 99 sons are gone, one is left, save him at least. And his standard response, go on, tell me what happens next. Aage kya hua? Aage kya hua, Sanjay? That's the standard response. Just a perfect example of a man who is not willing to accept the reality and is so illusioned with the temporary comforts of life. So we don't want to be in that position. While we want to, yes, strive to be successful in life and be great examples of practicing devotees, we also want to be conscious of the fact that it can be taken away from us anytime. So we are in a constant endeavor to prasiddha prabho dukkha jalabdi magnam. Hey Krishna, please be pleased with whatever little effort we are able to do, because we are constantly living in this ocean of sorrow, almost like a dead man. That's the takeaway I'd like to share with you guys from here. So let's go to the 7th verse. Kuveratmajau baddha mritveva yadva tvaya mochitau bhakti bhajau kritau cha tatha prema bhaktim swakamme prayacha namoksigraho mesti damodareha. So now we come to the focus verse for this evening, and this is very interesting. Kuveratmajau baddha mritveva yadva. So Satyavrat Muni, so far he's requesting, he's pleading to Krishna. He's saying, give me bhakti, give me your remembrance, allow me to constantly be able to see you, and you're the supreme and all that. He's in pleading mode. But here he changes his tone a little bit and he says, hang on. By the way, I have examples of some people who are not even deserving of bhakti. You have given them also bhakti. And who are they? Here, Nala Kuvera, Manigriva. They were the sons of Kuvera. So Satyavat Muni Acharyas tell us that in his loving exchange with Lord Krishna, composing these prayers, he changes the tone and he kind of uses a different tactic and says, here is the example of two individuals who we know how many regulative principles they were following, and what kind of devotee respect, etiquette they were giving to seniors, and how many rounds they had is also off the record. So he's giving example of some individuals who were also granted devotion. And this is also one of the reasons why this Damodar Ashtakam pastime was conducted. The first is to glorify the Lord's devotees like Yashodama. And one major reason is to uphold the statement of his devotee. Krishna says, Konteha pratijane name bhaktya pranashati. If my pure devotee makes a statement, I will do my bit to fulfill. And who's that pure devotee of the Lord in this pastime? None other than Narad Muni. So we know Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, they committed offense. Narad Muni cursed them to become trees because that's the body they were demonstrating to be desiring of. And then because they were Kuvera's son, they had some basic intelligence, and they seek forgiveness. And Narad Muni was kind and compassionate, and he granted them a way out. So just to uphold Narad Muni's words, Krishna conducts this pastime, is the understanding. So when we come in contact with pure devotees of the Lord, and we see that they are committed to Krishna's words, and they are committed to carrying out the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, we must blindly almost follow the instructions and use that as a route to perfect our lives. So empowered individuals like Srila Prabhupada. You could talk for hours on his accomplishments and how he's done groundbreaking activities to make Krishna a household name, not just in India, but in the entire world, in far-off places like Russia and even Middle East. So when we come across pure devotees of the Lord, we must make a very sincere effort to take up the instruction very, very earnestly. And that you can take it in writing, is coming as a direct instruction from the Lord himself, because the Lord is promising that he will do anything to uphold his devotees' words. There are several examples in the Shastras of how the Lord demonstrates a huge amount of eagerness to come to the rescue of his devotee. One wonderful example is of Gajendra. We've had several sessions on this. So just skipping to the last part of the story, in case of King Gajendra, we know that he was a king of elephants and he was living a very opulent life in that form. And he had a large fan following and happens to get into the water and then gets attacked by a crocodile. And then the battle goes on for 1,000 years like that. And then because Gajendra was King Indradumna in his past time, he remembered prayers. He remembered the prayers and he decides to offer those prayers. And scriptures tell us in Acharya's comment like this, that the moment Gajendra became prayerful, submitting himself to the Lord and recited the mantras and picked up a flower from the pond and offered, Krishna or Vishnu came running to rescue Gajendra. In fact, Krishna was in his Vishnu form urging Garuda to go faster because he couldn't wait to get to Gajendra and rescue him. Garuda, who rides with the speed of mind, was also told off to go faster, simply because the Lord was eager to get to his devotee. And furthermore, even before Garuda could reach, Vishnu jumped as soon as he saw Gajendra. Without waiting for Garuda to reach, Vishnu jumped off Garuda and in one swift motion pulled Gajendra out of water, invoked the Sudarshan and chopped off the crocodile's neck. So this is a demonstration of how much eager the Lord is to be with his devotees, to rescue them out of troublesome situation and to allow them the opportunity to have these loving exchanges with him, only if we are willing to offer him pure love and affection. That's the only criteria. Because what is it that you can give to someone who's the source of everything? So the last verse, Namaste Studamne Spuradipti Damne Tvedi Udaraya Ta Vishvashadam Namo Radhikaya Tvadhyaya Priyaye Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam. So this is the conclusion, and Satyavat Muni is saying, O Lord of the universe, even Brahma was born on your abdomen. And he's basically acknowledging the supremacy of Krishna, who just out of his mother's effort, he sees his mother huffing and puffing and sweating, and there are beautiful descriptions of this pastime in wonderful books such as Damodar Janani by Shivaram Swami, where the mother is going all out, and until she thinks that she's the boss, Krishna is elusive. But the moment she surrenders and submits, Krishna says, "Okay, here I am." So, Namaste Damne, Spuradipti Damne, Tvadiyodharaya, Vishwashadhamne. You're the Lord of the universe, but you still agree to be bound by this rope. So I offer my obeisances to this rope. And why does he chooses to get bound? Because the mother is desiring. And then Namo Radhikaya Tvadhyaya Priyaya Namo Nanta Leelaya Devaya Tubhyam. Acharyas also tell us that Satyavrat Muni, in his effort to try and see Krishna's favor, is using different tactics. He's coming through different channels, and he chooses to offer prayers to Radharani as well. And he's requesting Radharani to make a recommendation to Krishna. Oh, Radharani, Krishna's favor, please, can you put in a little note? So that's the explanation Acharyas give us. And Krishna is also known as Radha Damodar. So one may ask, why Radha Damodar? Why not Yashoda Damodar always and only? Because Yashodama is binding Krishna as Damodar. So if you read Krishna book and all of the other Krishna pastimes, you know that even Radharani quite a few times tied up Krishna because he would have so many pastimes. And I think the one that is being referred to is Krishna would quite often come late or do a lot of mischiefs, and Radharani would say, "Okay, your punishment is I'm going to tie you to this tree," and then she would use branches and twigs and whatever would be at her disposal. So Radha Damodar, Radharani also a number of times tied Krishna. So these were the takeaways from this beautiful prayers that we have been singing all this month, and we have another week or 10 days to do so. Please take the opportunity to take some nice, peaceful, special time with your families or friends, wherever you are, and recite these prayers with all your heart. These are not ritualistic activities to give us material benedictions. These are spiritual activities to allow us to have a display of little love and affection to the Lord, and may He kindly be merciful upon us, like He has been to so many devotees. And these prayers are examples of such great devotees, such as Yashodhama, Nalakuvera, Manigriva are also devotees in their own right. So we will conclude here, and we are, I believe, just in time. Over to you, Gauranga Prabhu, for any comments and constructive criticism of what I have managed to present. Please excuse me if anything was not quite right, but here I am. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu, that was amazing. No words for me. It was very focused, very systematic, and there were plenty of pastimes. And you're given the essence of each verse, not only the 7th and the 8th, but we were, we were also very fortunate to have, the summary of the other 2 verses as well. So that's so nice, very, very nice, really. You highlighted the importance of, prema bhakti, and how there is no awe and reverence at all. Also, you brought up several other pastimes. You Maharaj, you brought up Gajendra pastime. You brought up Dhruva Maharaj pastime. You were talking about Dhritarashtra, how, he was thinking about it. Yeah, so thank you so much for, focusing on the verse and on the subject matter and giving the essence. It's really, really appreciated. It's well done, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Definitely, really appreciate.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga.
Yes, I only got a couple of quick announcements. Madhu Kumar Prabhu has already mentioned that the Bhishma Panchak is beginning from Monday onwards. So those 5 days or the last 5 days of the Kartik month, and the devotees, some devotees follow Bhishma Panchak Vrat, the vow of Bhishma Panchak, to get the extra benefit of the Kartik month. So if any of you are interested, you can carry on and take a vow, and you got some days now, you to prepare for it. And so it's good to know sometimes, so that we can prepare for it. And this Sunday is the last Sunday of the Kartik month. Yes. And so in the temple, we are doing 6-hour kirtan, from beginning from 12, and it goes until 6 o'clock, and it will be concluded with Damodar Ashtakam prayer. So it will be a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to come together and chant the holy names in the association of devotees in the month of Kartik on a last Sunday. Would be fantastic. So I request all the devotees to come and participate and take this wonderful opportunity. And whatever we do, especially in the association of devotees, will benefit us a lot in the month of Kartik. So please do come and also convey this message to your near and dear and friends and family. So as I said, the program will be concluded with Damodar Ashtakam prayer and a lamp offering at around 5 or 5 o'clock. So please make a note of that, and we hope to see you all. That's it from my side. Madhu Kumar Prabhu, any update on the calendars or anything like that?
Yes, they'll be here next week.
So they will be here next week, right? So Madhu Kumar Prabhu will update you, but the calendars are on their way. So if you have ordered, you will receive a copy. If you have not ordered, Madhu Kumar Prabhu is very happy to take an order. So he'll be in touch with you. Hare Krishna. Anything else, Madhu Kumar Prabhu?
No. Then do we do the Damodar prayers online, or let people do in their homes?
Yeah, now I think let's people do in their own home. That would be nice, I guess, now. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yashoda Damodar ki jai. Radha Damodar Bhagavan ki jai. His Grace Madhu Kumar Prabhu ki jai. Itai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.